Before I get started with the story, I have to give a shout out to Didi the Best on Twitter for sending this story to me that is coming out of Chicago, where you have this 44-year-old dusty palm-colored son of a bitch, and you'll understand why I started the video off as intense as I did in a second, who basically got into it with this 19-year-old black teen who, by the way, is autistic. So basically this happened in the bathroom. So it says that this guy tried to block this teen inside of the bathroom. Like, he literally was literally physically messing with him, like hitting him, calling him slurs, and trying to keep him from leaving the bathroom. For what, I'm not even sure, but does it really matter? In a situation such as this, he found a target that he could pick on. Like, the boy is autistic. He cannot properly defend himself, and I believe they said he was there with his grandmother. But I'm going to go ahead and get into it because something else happened as well. A Chicago man was arrested Tuesday, July 20th, and later charged with a hate crime after allegedly attacking a 19-year-old boy with autism. He also shouted racial slurs at the young man and an off-duty Chicago police officer. The Chicago Tribune reports that Phillipp T. Jordt, age 44, who was white, was standing at a urinal inside the bathroom at Pete's Fresh Grocery Market when he allegedly began yelling racial slurs at the teen, who was black and was not identified. The young man was washing his hands at the time of the incident when it occurred. Jordt allegedly tried to prevent the 19-year-old from leaving the bathroom and punched him in the stomach while continuing to yell racial slurs. Illinois Assistant State's Attorney Daryl August said to the newspaper in a statement, the 19-year-old exited the bathroom after a struggle in which he punched Jordt at least once, knocking him to the ground. Surveillance then showed the ex-Marine following the victim out of the bathroom while continuing to throw punches though August noted that Jordt didn't make contact. Now let me stop right there. Something just stuck out to me in this part. They said this guy was an ex-Marine and he was attacking this black boy. This takes me back to a couple months ago where you had this white ex-military personnel, I'm not sure from what branch, who was belittling this black kid, boy or young man in a neighborhood in a residential area in South Carolina, in Columbia. This reminds me so much of that. So much of that. Because in both instances, you have both victims who was black. They were both young black males. The other two was older white males. Those two white males were both formerly in the military, and they were both acting like some straight up bitches. The only difference is I think both of them had a disability, because I think the one in South Carolina had a disability too. Someone can correct me in the comments if I'm wrong. The only difference is they're in two different locations. One was in South Carolina, one was in Chicago. The 19-year-old's grandmother, who was waiting for him outside the bathroom, claimed Jordt continued to make offensive remarks at her grandson even after they left the restroom. Comments included statements such as "white people built this country." Ultimately, two off-duty police officers who worked as security guards at the store were able to separate the pair. The outlet revealed that as Jordt was being escorted out the door, he reportedly called one of the female officers, who was also black, a racial slur. The former Marine admitted to his actions, revealing that he was intoxicated at the time. If it's not a mental illness, it's some kind of an intoxication, or they were high on some kind of a narcotic. It never fails. However, after being put in custody, he seemingly doubled back on his actions, explaining that he does not have a problem with all black people, just certain ones when they act in a certain way. The boy was just in there washing his hands, minding his business. Like, what the fuck was he doing to you that made you go off on him, that make you claim this is not all black people, just certain ones? What, did he not acknowledge you? Because, white people are funny like that. If you don't acknowledge them, or if they tell you about their day voluntarily and you don't tell them about your day voluntarily, they get upset, like as if you asked them to tell you about their day. And then he went off on the other one. He probably he probably did because it was a black female and she was a cop, and he felt he could talk to her any type of way. Hell, no, Lord knows that they do the same thing with their own, as far as getting in their face and talking a whole bunch of shit. Judge John Like, who presided over Jordt's case, responded to his admission of intoxication, stating, "What I've heard growing up is that alcohol is a truth serum. It tends to expose who you are. Facts." The man who now works as a security guard had no prior conviction, though he had a pending misdemeanor trespassing charge. His bond was set at $150,000. Judge Like also executed a warrant for the unrelated trespassing charge. I say throw the book at him, give him the max of whatever he can possibly get. After all, that's a hate crime charge right there. That's 2 hate crime charges because he yelled racial slurs at this boy multiple times. He has assault charges because he hit him multiple times. He could have kidnapping charges because he kept him in a position where he was trying to leave. Then he yelled racial slurs at the other cop. That's another hate crime charge as far as I'm concerned. I don't know how many years that is, but I'm not even going to hold my breath if he doesn't really get that much time, if he gets any time at all. After all, they throw in the part about him not having a prior conviction. But so what? The fact that makes this even more pathetic is that this guy picked on a 19-year-old, someone who was less than half his age, or less than twice his age. Yeah. And he's an adult, or so-called adult. And he's doing this to someone who is old enough to be his child. Because he claims he was intoxicated. If he was intoxicated, when they make that claim, the minute they say that, they need to give them a breathalyzer test on the spot to determine if they are intoxicated, and if they are, how intoxicated are they? Because that's where if that thing don't go up above a certain meter, then that means they knew what they were talking about. But the judge did make that good call by saying that alcohol is a truth serum, but it's also another one where it says a drunk mind speaks sober thoughts. So those thoughts were on his mind. After all, it didn't just stop with the teen, the 19-year-old. It went on to the black female officer. So that means the other officer that was with her was in black, but he directed his anger towards her. That lets me know that completely negates anything he said about it. He didn't mean what he said, or he's not racist, anything, whatever it is he said. He probably said that too. He is. And that part about white people building this nation, that is laughable. This is why they don't want critical race theories in school right now, because they got to uphold lies like that. Y'all let me know what y'all think about this down in the comments.